Has Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti lost his mind? The Big Ten and the SEC can't agree on a college football playoff format with a potential 16-team field. His latest idea, 28 teams. It's time to stop this madness right now. Locked On Big Ten starts now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. I want to thank you for checking us out every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button down below while you're watching. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, like, and follow, that helps us out a lot as well. So a 28-team college football playoff. Sure, let's just let everybody in. That was sarcasm, by the way. The Buckeyes named their starting quarterback. How about that? And CONNOR STALIONS lawyers are speaking about the latest punishments on Michigan. Plus, we got Tuesday tweets. They're great. You want to tune in for all of that. So, while it seemed inevitable that the college football playoffs will expand from 12 to 16 teams beginning in 2026, Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti and SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, they got all the power to decide on what format we're going to use and dictate who gets into the playoffs and who gets how much money and how that all be split. It's all right there. The problem is, and you everydayers know this, Petitti and Sankey, the Big Ten and the SEC, they can't agree on a way forward. They got nothing. So, in a nutshell, and this is an oversimplification, the Big Ten wants 4 automatic qualifiers, 4 Big Ten teams, guaranteed spots in the college football playoffs every year. The SEC would also get 4. Lesser conferences like the Big 12 or the ACC, they get 2 each. Sankey and the SEC, they seem like they liked that idea at first until they didn't. Sankey couldn't sell the format to his own league, and now they're settling on the 5+11 format where there would be 11 at-large bids picked by a flawed committee. Now, Petitti and the Big Ten, now they're floating an even bigger 24 to 28 team playoff format. This is the worst idea yet, according to me. I'm sure you agree with me. At least I think you do. I'll tell you why in a moment. We'll get into it just a little bit. But you everydayers to this podcast, you probably know where I'm going with this. The proposal would eliminate the conference championship games altogether, and it still locks into the idea of offering automatic bids or qualifiers for Power 4 conferences. As you can imagine, the automatic qualifiers would still be automatically distributed, and in the 28-team model, the Big Ten and the SEC would get 7 teams each into the playoffs every single year. Automatic bids, 7 of them. The ACC and the Big 12, they get 5 each under this proposal. Now, that will leave 2 at-large bids for 2 non-Power 4 teams. And the 2 at-large bids, by the way, that's only 2 spots available for Notre Dame to grab. All right? Actually, I don't hate that part. But there's more. In the 28-team model, 20 playoff games would be on campus. Obviously, the College Football Committee would seed those teams and pick the 2 at-large teams. By the way, there would also be 2 non-group of 4 as well. So that's how you get the 28 teams. But those 2 at-large teams, they might not necessarily be Notre Dame. They very likely could be Notre Dame, but they could just as well be the 8th place Big Ten team or the 8th place SEC team, not just Notre Dame. It could work out that way. But Petitti just sprung this idea on his conference members, and now others are reviewing it. Of course, this season, we're still locked into the 12-team format. All this chit-chat is for 2026 and beyond if sides could come up with an actual agreement. As many of you know, Locked On Big Ten's position has always been anti-playoff expansion. The bigger it gets, the dumber it gets, the worse it gets. It waters down the regular season, and it waters down the life or death feel the each Saturday afternoon has in college football. That's unique to college football. That's the great part of college football. But if everybody's getting into the playoffs, who cares about what happens on half of these Saturdays? It waters down the rivalries. Michigan and Ohio State means less. If they're just going to meet again a few days or a few weeks later in the playoffs, in the postseason, that becomes the bigger game. The rivalry at the end of the season doesn't mean as much. If we're letting 28 teams, if we got 28 playoff teams, what do you think the chances are Michigan and Ohio State already know that they're destined for the playoffs by November 1st? See what I mean here? See where we're going? And of course, my largest question here of all regarding all of this is, the 7th place Big 10 or SEC team, or the 5th place Big 12, or certainly not the 5th place ACC team. None of those teams are winning the national championship. 7th place in the Big 10, 7th place in the SEC, 5th place in the ACC or Big 12. Those aren't championship caliber teams. So what are we doing here? The goal here is to name a national champion. On a larger scale, the 20th or the 28th ranked team in America has no chance of winning the national championship. Even with upsets, it's not going to happen. And again, that's the reason we have these playoffs, to crown a champion. Or have we forgotten all that because this is just a huge money grab? It's the same thing with the NCAA basketball tournament. 64 was a perfect number. And then we decided to have that one play-in game and make it 65. Then the slippery slope was there, and we were sliding down it. We increased to 68. And we play those stupid play-in games. Now they're talking about 76 teams. They would have done it for this upcoming 2026 March Madness tournament. They couldn't get their act together logistically and sites and all that. That's happening the year after that. 76. Again, the 64th ranked, the 68th team, the 76th ranked team, the 77th ranked team that's on the bubble. They're not going to win the national championship. So quit wasting my time as a fan. These people that are in charge, they only know one move. That's increase and expand and collect money. That's all they know. More teams, more money. That's it. But these people never see the unintended result, or they never care about it, about how they're ruining the sports that they claim that they're making better. Now, Tony Petitti's idea is all about access to the playoffs. He wants every game to matter. He wants every Big Ten game in November to mean something from top to bottom, because the fan bases all think they still have a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, that's an admirable goal. But he wants Purdue and Northwestern and Rutgers and Maryland games in November to matter as much as the Michigan-Ohio State game in November, with the possibility of a playoff spot on the line. In the SEC, he wants Kentucky and Vanderbilt and Missouri's and Mississippi State's games to matter as much as the Iron Bowl or the Georgia-Florida game in November. It's just not the way sports are. By the time we get to November, we better have a pretty good idea who's been paired out and who's still in, and not just everybody. I mean, if that's the point, let's just start the playoffs in October and let everybody in, because we're that close from doing that. Last year in the Big Ten, Michigan and Minnesota tied for 7th. These would be the teams that would get automatic bids, right? With 5-4 records. USC and Rutgers and Washington all finished at 4-5 out of the pack, but would have been in the race down the stretch. Sure, and if you're a fan of that school, maybe you want that to happen. But you and I know Michigan was not a playoff caliber team last year with no quarterback. USC had its problems. Rutgers, Washington, I mean, they all had success stories to talk about last year, but they weren't playoff caliber. They weren't winning a national championship last year. They weren't. They just weren't. Under this new proposed format, they'd all been in the hunt, as would have Nebraska and Michigan State and UCLA and Wisconsin, who all finished at 3-6. Those teams still would have been mathematically alive under this proposal. And then these are teams that finished 3-6 in the conference. They're not worthy of a conference championship, let alone a playoff or a national championship. And I'm saying this is a Big Ten fan. Anyway, I don't know if this would have added any realistic excitement. I suppose to some schools it would have. Maybe it would have mattered for a minute, but none of them would have had a chance to win a title. Absolutely not. And what really would have happened, it was probably, and this is, we're seeing this with these outer fringe teams that are making playoffs, whether it's a 4-team playoff or a 12-team playoff. We're seeing a lot of blowouts. I mean, do we want to see our teams, our 7th place Big Ten teams, get into the playoffs and go on the road at another campus to get blown out? No, because it's not when we're protecting these teams from getting blown out. They're just going to get blown out and they'll be embarrassed. And they didn't have a chance to win a championship anyway. Let's make the playoffs mean something. Making the playoffs means that means you're good. I mean, is this what we really want our playoffs to be, Tony Petitti? I don't. Less is more. More is not better. Let me hear from you. I know you have an opinion on this. I know you have an opinion on a perfect number. Let me have it. All the comments on YouTube. Hit that free subscribe button, by the way. Join us. Be with us every day. That way you'll never miss a single episode. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten as well. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts go. And that way there's also links there to your favorite schools. We can buy merchandise. Get ready for the upcoming season. Michigan, Indiana, Nebraska. You're a fan? Get some shirts, T-shirts, hats, all that for the season coming up right there at talkbig10.com. You can check it out right there. Still lots to do. CONNOR Stalions lawyers, they have spoken about the NCAA punishment for Spygate. They have an interesting take. The Buckeyes named their starting quarterback for week 1. We'll talk about that. Also, they may have $1 million bust on their roster as well. And some recruiting news. We got all that to take care of right here in 1 minute on Locked On Big Ten. Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason already heating up. College football not far behind. Whether you've got an eye on some big-name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in the game. You pair a couple of players, 2 to a half a dozen players, and you pair some possible stats. You say more than or less than those stats, and you can put all your winnings together. It's incredible. It's a lot of fun. Again, with the 2 to 6 player stat projections, you get them right, you can win like up to 2,000 times your money. And the flex play option is a total game changer out there as well. Even when one of your picks misses, you still can double your money. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after they play your first $5 lineup. That code is LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, run your game. Hey, you get hot, dehydrated, Drip Drop is where you need to go. I live in Florida. I sweat all the time. I get dehydrated all the time. This really helps you pick up your game, your routine. It keeps you hydrated and fresh and ready to go, no matter what your schedule is, no matter if you're in a hot area like me or wherever. We all get dehydrated. Drip Drop is a doctor-developed and scientifically proven product for fast hydration. It uses the perfect balance of sodium electrolytes, and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of the leading sports drink. My favorite go-to is peach. You go and get it. Comes in a bag like this. It's got little packets inside that you pour in your water. It's an awesome product. Check it out right now. Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Just head to dripdrop.com and use the promo code LOCKEDONCollege. That's dripdrop.com, promo code Locked On College for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits too hard. Thanks for checking out Locked On Big Ten and making it your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. We are growing by leaps and bounds every day thanks to you guys. Don't be left out, and that way you'll never miss a single episode. Also, if you could, share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And check out our website, talkbig10.com, for podcasts and Big Ten merchandise. All right. Add CONNOR Stalions to the list of those unhappy with the NCAA's penalty for Spygate at Michigan. Stalions, the former assistant coach and staffer, who was the mastermind of the Wolverine sign-stealing scandal, received an 8-year show cause penalty from the NCAA. And the NCAA claimed that Stalions ran a network to conduct a impermissible advanced scouting operation, which broke a minor NCAA bylaw. Stalions' lawyers claim that the NCAA doesn't even understand its own bylaws and rules that they say Stalions broke. They say that this 8-year show cause penalty would not stand in any court in America. They also claim that the investigation against its client was rigged. And as they say, the NCAA still won't reveal their confidential sources to this whole investigation. They also claim that the NCAA's feelings were hurt by Stalions' participation in the Netflix documentary Sign Stealer last summer. These are his lawyers speaking. Meanwhile, Ryan Day announced that redshirt freshman Julian Sayin will be the Buckeyes starting quarterback after he beat out veteran backup Lincoln Kienholz this spring and summer. And I think this is an advantageous move by Ryan Day to do it now. They got a big game week 1. This isn't Youngstown State. This is number 1 Texas. So by getting the quarterback situation nailed down now, 11, 12 days out, they can start switching gears from summer camp to game prep. You remember 2 years ago, Will McCord and Devin Brown, they went 2 weeks into the season, battling back and forth, sharing reps. This is a good situation, I think, for Ryan Day and Ohio State as they get ready for that Texas game on August 30th. No time to waste here. So QB1 is in the books. And by the way, I'm going to mention this now, and I'm going to mention it frequently. If you're new to us here at Locked On Big Ten, on Saturdays in the fall, we always go live after the biggest game on the schedule, whether it be late in the afternoon or late at night after a primetime game. We'll go live here on this YouTube channel on Locked On Big Ten, and we're going to do that right after the Texas-Ohio State game. So that's a noon game. So figure 3:30, 4 o'clock, we'll be live. I'm going to start touting this right now. We're very excited about that. We'll just get great reactions. We see your comments live, everything right there. So immediate reaction to the game. By the way, speaking of Ohio State, last week we took a deep look into how they were distributing their name, image, and likeness money. And they seem to be losing out on a handful of 5-star recruits because they'd rather spend that extra dollar on an experienced transfer portal guy, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 key positions, instead of giving it to maybe a freshman that probably won't contribute right away. Look, Jeremiah Smith was a freak show. He wasn't normal. Normally, it takes freshmen a year or two to get in. And if you could pay, millions of dollars for a high-end recruit, but he didn't play right away, Ohio State's kind of massaging the theory on what to do there. There's no wrong answers. Everybody's trying to figure this out together. So, anyway, the one kid that they spent like $1 million on to come into the transfer portal, Ethan Onianwa from Rice, a tackle, offensive lineman, ain't working out. Paying $1 million for him, and it doesn't look like he's going to crack the starting lineup. In fact, he's having a hard time making the 2 deeps at tackle, either left tackle or right tackle. Now, the Buckeyes have to replace 4 starters on the offensive line this year, but Onianwa can't crack the 2 deep at either tackle. Now they're talking about making him be a backup guard. That's expensive for a backup. So it appears other places on the offensive line are filling in. But he's one to watch. See where this is going to work out. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Golden Gophers, they got a wide receiver commit for 2026. And he just played his first game of the high school game of the season. And he's doing well, too well. Others have noticed, and now they want to flip him. Talking about Kai Meza. He plays in Utah. They already started playing high school football in Utah up there. And Meza's Corner Canyon High School just shut out Bingham 45-0. And he had 6 catches and 145 yards and a 97-yard touchdown in that game. This is the norm for him. Prior to Friday night, the 6-foot wide receiver had 131 career catches, almost 2,600 yards, and 30 touchdowns. You know who else is noticing? Coach Prime. Deion Sanders just offered him a scholarship on behalf of the Colorado Buffaloes. PJ Fleck better keep an eye on the situation here. Other people are trying to get this kid and flip him. Huskers fans, you got a 5-star in-state blue chipper, Torrey Pittman. He has a verbal commit to the Huskers for the class of 2027, and he is crediting his relationship with Matt Rule for the reason that he's coming to Nebraska. Rule had been in contact since the kid was in 8th grade and really got to know him on a personal level, really worked that relationship. And that's what this kid said that was really important to him and why he he's going to go to Nebraska. He's an Omaha product. He also wants to restore the glory to the Huskers and win a national championship. So wants to put him back on the map again. He's a defensive back. He's got some wide receiver talent. Maybe he'll play both ways. Keep an eye on him. Torrey Pittman is the kid's name. At Northwestern, Coach David Braun. 2 years ago, he's the Big Ten Coach of the Year. And then they took a little bit of a step back last year. Their 2026 class is shaping up. They got 17 members. They're ranked 60th in the country. They just offered a 3-star offensive lineman, Fletcher Turk, from Georgia. And yeah, Georgia wants him. He's interested. He's an interesting kid, I should say, because he moved to offensive line last year and he only weighed 218 pounds. Since then, he's like 280. You go from 218 to 280, like 60 plus pounds. Others are noticing as well. He's got offers from Michigan State, Florida, Clemson, and as I mentioned, he's from Georgia. He's got offers from Georgia and Georgia Tech. So now one thing Northwestern can pitch this kid, playing time. These other schools might not play right away. We can play Northwestern right away. And the fact Northwestern does put offensive linemen into the NFL. So they got that going for them. We'll keep an eye on this kid with this recruit. All right, if you're new, we do features at the end of our podcast every day. Mondays, we do our top 10 Big Ten observations. Tuesdays are Tuesday tweets. Send me a tweet on X at Twitter. I'll put it on the show. Wednesdays, tomorrow, we power rank stuff. Thursdays, Big Ten Classics. Fridays, we do our pigskin picks. So it's Tuesday. Tuesday tweets, some great ones. You guys got your sense of humor. You got your skills going. We're going to share those. Those are coming up next right here on Locked On Big Ten. Open phone. If you're running a business, every time you miss a call, it's money left on the table. It's a missed opportunity. Think about the last time you personally, not as a business owner, but as just personally needed something. You called somebody, you needed the service. And if that first person didn't answer, what'd you do? Did you wait? No. You moved on to the next name and number on the list, right? That's why you need open phone. So you never miss an opportunity to connect with your customers. Open phone is the #1 business phone system designed to streamline and scale your customer communications. Do you presently juggle 2 phones, your personal phone and your work phone? You keep them separate? Well, open phone solves that for you. And your whole team can share one number and respond to customers in a shared inbox. It's no more like, hey, who's got this? Who's handling it? Just everybody's on it. They got an AI agent that handles calls after hours, answers common questions. So see what over 60,000 businesses trust open phone for. They're offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnCollege. That's openphone.com/LockedOnCollege. They'll even port over your existing numbers and contacts for free. Boom. That's half the work right there. Open phone. No missed calls, no missed customers. It's time now for Tuesday tweets. These are always fun. Going to put them on here. If you're audio only, we'll describe them as best we can in full detail. Here we go. All right. Here is one from the Silver Bulletin with a picture of Julian Sayin, QB1. It's official. Julian Sayin has been named the Ohio State Buckeyes starting quarterback for the 2025 season. There you go. That's a load off. I think everybody's mind, except for Lincoln Keenholz, of course. By the way, Ryan Day said we can win with either guy if we have to. Here is from at Darko State News. Friendly reminder, Nick Marsh, a nice picture of Nick Marsh in uniform, number 6 at Michigan State, turned down a massive name, image, and likeness offer twice in 2 off seasons because he wanted to be a Spartan for life. Guys have been trying to steal him away. He still wants to be a Spartan. Here's from at Michigan State content. Aiden Childs, Nick Marsh practicing, and it's the clock, 11 days, 10 hours and 42 seconds from when this picture was taken. Got a feeling that this team is going to exceed expectations, it says. All right, we've been talking about them a lot the past couple of weeks. Here's from at Basic Blues podcast. Countdown is on. It is a big Penn State Nittany Lion logo Only 2 more Saturdays until this team dictates my entire mood. Yeah, you get like that, don't you? You get all excited. Your team wins. You're in a great mood for the rest of your Saturday. Your team loses. It feels like the end of the world. Yeah, it's tough. College football, that's what we go through every Saturday. This is also from at Adam Brenneman, a picture of Drew Aller, who's got a Penn State, who's got a real shot at winning the Heisman in 2025. So they fixed his wide receiver depth, the biggest issue. Everything looks good. An elite offensive line, 2 legit running backs, of course, top tier defense. If the Nittany Lions deliver, Aller's not just a Heisman favorite, he's a top candidate with everything going on there at Penn State. Here is another shot from Penn State. Mike Portman checking in at PSU. Portman, live look from the 50-yard line at Penn State's Beaver Stadium, the west side of the temporary bleachers, getting those ready to go. We show pictures of this almost every week. Somebody's always taking a shot because it just looks weird, looks different. The number 2 Nittany Lions over the 2025 college football season here in 2 weeks versus Nevada, it says. Meanwhile, speaking of Penn State, at PSU football, it is a picture of the Colts. Tyler Warren, former tight end at Penn State, and having a great game in the preseason. It says Tyler Warren is going to be a star in the NFL, ... But we already knew that. Yes, we did. Here's from at Badger football. Camp Randall after dark just got brighter. Come and experience yourself in 10 days. It's a video, hype video of the empty stadium all painted up and lit up and ready to go. I think they put in some new lights there, doing some renovations. It's going to be even better. Speaking of Wisconsin, at Badger football, happy birthday to our very own head coach, at Coach Luke Fickell. It was his birthday on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. And I believe he is 50. Oh, horrible math. I can't. I think he was born in 73. 52, right? 52. Happy birthday. This is from at Arrogant Nation. We post them a lot. Hashtag or at Fight on Rusty. 12 days until USC football is back. And this is a whole video from the old school days. Charles White. With a highlight there, known for his Rose Bowl performance against number 1 Ohio State, rushing for 247 yards in their 17-16 win. Hashtag fight on. Here's from at Justin Spiro. I was waiting for this. So it says it's Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, a gear, and it's got 2038. If you do the math on the 2 show causes, 4 years and 10 years, he would not be eligible to coach without a show cause until 2038 when he's 75 years old. It says, what a legacy. Jim Harbaugh, 2038. Here's from U of M coverage. You know, they got roughed up a little, not as bad as they thought, but here they are throwing it back at everybody. Michigan State hasn't beaten Michigan football in 1,386 days. Penn State hasn't beaten Michigan football in 1,722 days. Ohio State hasn't beaten Michigan football in 2,086 days. And Notre Dame hasn't beaten Michigan football in 2,541 days. Illinois football putting this out. Collage pictures. Luke Altmaier out there. Scrimmage 2. Iron sharpens iron. They're going to have a big season this year. I'm convinced of it. They're ranked. They're ready to go. Coming off a 10-win season. Look out for Brett Bielema's team. And those are our Tuesday tweets. As I said, send me a tweet. We'll put it on here. Always like hearing from you guys at Talk Big Ten. That will do it. Tomorrow, middle of the week, more of the latest news. We cover all 18 teams, news, analysis of that news, and opinion of that news. And we do it on both a video and an audio podcast. We're the most unique Big Ten podcast out there in the world. Check us out. Tell your friends about us. Because if you're a Big Ten fan, I know you know other Big Ten people that you talk with. Let them know we're out here every single day. Many ways for you to follow this podcast. You can interact with us on Twitter or X at TalkBig10 Don't forget our website, TalkBig10 for podcasts, merchandise. Whatever you do, hit that subscribe button before you go. It's free. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you don't mind, share, follow, and like as well. Go back and check out yesterday's podcast in case you missed it as well. It was outstanding. We always have fun with that. And I'll invite you to check out a second listen of our friend Brian Smith from the Portal Show, all things transfer portal. There are still kids out there looking for places to land from the spring portal. He's all over it there on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. That'll do it for us. Thank you for your time. We always appreciate it, and we can't wait till we meet again tomorrow for Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman.